Okay guys, we got a Dewalt 12-inch sliding compound miter saw, model number DW708. The problem is when you pull the handle down, the guard doesn't raise. I found out that the linkage down in here, you can see these two were supposed to be attached at the center. The linkage broke, and you can't just go buy a repair or a replacement linkage part. So just a quick video here to show you how to make something that's going to work. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, first thing we got to do is take off this back screw right here, bolt, whatever. And of course, as per usual, I fixed this once, took it apart, broke it again, just so I could fix it to show you how I fixed it. So anyway, take this off. Okay, and you're going to have a washer back behind the arm, and then you're going to have the arm, and then you have the bolt and the spacer right there, okay? Then you got to come around to the front side and take this one right here off. Okay, and on this one you've got your arm and then a spacer and a bolt that comes off there. Now, what I've got here is I've got to put these together, and I always for some reason forget which way this goes. So yeah. So what we have here is we have a bearing, and this is just a, if I could, 608 RS bearing. Pretty standard, I mean skateboard bearings or whatever. Okay, and then what I did is I went and got down to the hardware store and just got a bolt that goes through that. Ideally it would be the same size, but I had to be able to fit through this part of the arm over here. So, and then what I did is I put that through it, slipped a nut on top of that, tightened it up, and I could, if I used a longer bolt, have used washers in between here, but I didn't have that option. So I live in a town that doesn't have a huge store like that. So anyway, once again, let me verify. Did I do that the right way? Yeah. Okay, so put this with the arc facing up. Set your bearing in that side there, and I've done a little space. The reason I did a nut is so that I could space that bearing out this way a little bit more, if that makes sense. Okay, and then we have a washer that I put in between both arms, and then the other arm. And again, if I had a longer one, I could set the locking nut on properly, but I'm putting the lock backwards so that it can get those locking threads as part of the deal here. So you guys can modify this a little bit for whatever works for you, but this is what I had to do. You know, you work with what you got. Tighten that up, and then back it off just a hair so that these arms can pivot nicely. Okay, and then essentially it's just put it back together. You have to lift up your guard by hand, set your lock pin, keep that out of the way, set this back in through, set it back where it goes there, and on the back side, like I said, the washer goes first, then you have your nut, bolt, and spacer that goes on there. Tighten that back up. Go ahead and tighten this back up. And you got to make sure that your arm is seating over the little spacer, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean when you do it. Tighten that up good. Then you can lift up your locking pin, bring this back around the front, bring your arm back around the front, and then you have this guy with the spacer that goes there. Again, make sure that your arm goes around the spacer. Just like that. And then, guys, fully functional. Guard raises and lowers like it's supposed to. And if you come and look here, you can see the bearing rolling ever so nicely across that guide there. So, if your linkage breaks, a bearing, a few nuts, and a bolt later, you should be back up and going and cutting safely. Good luck, guys.